platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR live news platform here in the USA with me. Welcome on the official news outlet of the LIBERIA Public Radio.com LPR.
Front Page Africa Live. I'm Obadiah Johnson. I'm here at Johnson Street, located in central Monrovia. On yesterday, it was reported that LPR officers allegedly fired tear gas to disperse residents that were not indoors as it relates to the state of emergency declared by President George Weah. And this lady here is reported to be one of the victims. Tell us your name and welcome to Front Page Africa. What's your name?
My name is Ami Ture.
Tell us exactly what happened on yesterday.
Yesterday, it was after 4 going to 5 o'clock in the evening time. I was on my porch cooking my breakfast because I was fasting. So, one of my brothers in the yard on the table was sleeping. As he was sleeping, I just made the thing policemen were coming with arms. They enter in the yard. We were not on the street. When they enter in the yard, I had a can, they say the bomb, enter inside the bomb when I see the offer. So I had a boy say, oh, but why I'm going inside for? I'm not on the street. I in my yard again. I had they started beating the ball. When they started beating the ball, I had say, I'm breaking your me or in the yard. Then you say, oh, go inside. Please, you shouldn't beat the ball. Say they were beating the ball. I saw they beating the ball. 10 of them, they started chopping the ball. And then they go, they said they want to carry the ball to the table. They couldn't able to carry the ball. So they spray the gas here in the ball at face. Then they finish they spray in the nose. That one not enough. They had to open the tank. When they open the tank, they blast the gas. So myself, I have a way off. The only part I can remember that.
How many of these officers did you see?
About 6.
How many officers came?
We want to welcome all our viewers and listeners across the globe. I'm Alfonso Z and so.
But all of those that were in front of this house,
all things
they
considered,
all live
is
here
coming
or not?
live here this afternoon. Time check in the East Coast is 2:43.
I listened to one of the officers saying that you people were playing music loud, the others were smoking shisha and merrymaking.
No, it's
Liberia
not
Public
true.
Radio 10
You can even say
LPR coming to you live from
Nobody
England.
music.
Thank you for sharing your afternoon with us, and we will get this program on the way very shortly. Stay tuned, we will have a discussion to bring you news, information, and entertainment from here, from the New England region of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. Thank you so much for being part of today's conversation. We will soon get this program on the way, as usual, news, information, Thank you so much. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to today's broadcast. I'm Alfonso Z and so right here this afternoon is 2:44 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is your informative news magazine, All Things Considered. We want to welcome our viewers and listeners wherever you are. Thank you for sharing your afternoon with us here today. Beautiful weather, beautiful day here from the East Coast. Welcome to the legendary Ashford, the Giant Gallet of the Bridge Radio. That's our sister network, all of us here in this business. Amos George, our contributor, and of course in Central Liberia is LPR Belton Tinot, our national correspondent based in Central Liberia in the city of Banga. Thank you for sharing your afternoon with us. Right on top of the hour, we'll be hosting the Director General of the Liberian New Agency, for that matter, Kwame Opa Weeks. Like is unfolding in the country, the government of Liberia, GOL, is entangled in so many issues. Kwame Weeks has agreed. Nothing is off the table. We want to be discussing that here this afternoon. But we also want to take this time here before we get our guest. Hopefully, the appointment will be in place. We want to pay a special homage to someone that has been so involved. The late Elder Joseph Dogbo. Joseph Dogbo passed away here in the Ocean State of Rhode Island. He works for the government of Liberia, assigned in the liberal town of Town, Grand Jida County, Republic of Liberia. As part of LPR initiative to always remember and keep track of especially events that they have been asked to cover. 2 years ago, the late Joseph Dobo and his wife, Madame Sarah Dobo, were beautifully honored by Rwalanders, people from Philadelphia and other nearby states in a colorful ceremony. This week, the late Dobo passed away, and we here at Liberia men that are really remembered of his resilience and goodness always in keeping being part of the community. He was one of the stalwarts of the Grand Jidek Association community right here in the Ocean State New England chapter, and even the national as well. The late Dobo passed away right here in our own Ocean State. Our prayers and thought goes out to the bereaved family of Mr. Edward Dobo, the daughter Deconteet, and all of the immediate family, including that of the wife. But 2 years ago, like I said, there was a colorful ceremony here in the city of East Providence. And guess what? I was part of that program. I was MC, and the liberal progressive of the Liberia Public Radio, Samson Bronto, was no exception. He flew in from California to grace the occasion. This is how LPR captured the images and the happenings at the time during the colorful ceremony known the late Joseph Dobo. Stay tuned. I will be right back.
She come in. Then she will come be available for her. Okay, all right. You ready?
the airport is one of the prominent airports Ocean State of Ireland, who passed almost 2 years ago to Liberia Public Radio. My own I was also part of that event 2 years ago to held in the city of Providence. And children That's the old man you see right there. His wife, beautiful dress in African attire, scarf, white. That's the beauty of the Liberia Public Radio documentary. That's the late old man you see there just my friend worked for the government of Liberia, assigned in total administrative district, where he worked with the customer for decades, years. We here to the Liberia Public Radio and LPR always involved in initiative when it comes to the Grand Leader Association England, and where what I grew for that matter, always in the Samson Brown, so let's listen to some of the happenings right here at the Ocean State. It's the beauty that we the know-how to document whatever. That's Joseph Dobot here from the Public Radio, remembering the late Joseph Dobot here from the Ocean State. As a matter of fact, we are about to get this great program on the way. For those of you just coming, we want to welcome you. This is a special honoring program of Mr. Joseph Dobot and Madam Sarah Dobot, sitting down here on the 8th floor of this floor. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So thank you, appreciate that. If you have your program sheet, first the ladies are making an announcement. All of those that are in uniform, they ask you to see if you can help with the feeding of the guests. That is if you can. I think they have two young ladies here that perhaps can stand on their feet more than, of course, they have laptops so I can get out. But no, on a very serious note, we ask that people's sisters, daughters, we want you guys to go back there and help. Welcome remark is moi, and I'm just making it brief. This is Madam Taba. The children, those that were responsible to have this occasion, friends, family, we want to welcome all of you here tonight. This is something of a very special occasion. That we're so pleased to have you all here tonight. This occasion be with us to honor our sister and the husband. Such a wonderful, wonderful thing for the family as well. So again, my name is Samson, too, of course, the MC here one, and then Alfonso so also here. I want to thank all of you. I want to seriously welcome you. Please, as you say, we ask you that we all celebrate. That we all celebrate here tonight with our family and friends and family. So again, welcome and thank you very much. Like I told you guys earlier that you have better things to do, but the fact that you're here with this family, I think we all very much appreciate your being here tonight.
Thank you very much. Welcome. Let's get the program going. Let's enjoy. Let's enjoy. Next year. Okay, we already have that. Okay, the ladies for the food. Are you guys ready for food? All right, as soon as the table is ready, this is what you're suggesting. That instead of us all just taking this one aisle here going for food, I would like a group on there forming in line, get your food, and a group on this side. Thank you so much. DJ, let them get out. Thank you so much. We're flying around and we're step your system. They say the family tree with them will never break. So, I always love you. Like the Labron said, they say, I see brown people so. They are more so they're making power, but not one time one person or the other, they will go for you. Now, how the family is double to Guruwa Association and also for their long time of being together. And so we present this number of people as our
So we're going to get this program on the way here to evacuate. Let us bring this as the bereaved family going through this tough time. Let us just bring in this beautiful song, say Yahweh. Whatever it is, I will say thank you so much. And Father God, I will say thank you for the time that we share with Edward Joseph Teresa. And that's the song that Minister to one and the West African Republic of Liberia. Whatever the situation is, say thank you. I am Alfonso Zienso of the Liberia Public Radio and LPR TV. We just got a message from our guest. Coming Oprah Weeks will be here very shortly. But in the meantime, let's just keep this program rolling. That's hot. Minister Wanin is also joining us here from the West African state of Liberia. Thank you for the beautiful song, Yahweh. We want to thank all of our viewers and listeners, and to the bereaved family. We say our prayers and thought goes out to the family of the late Joseph Dobot of the Ocean State of Rhode Island, the Granger community as a whole, the people of Liberia, the moment he served his country. For a number of decades, he worked in Totent, Granger County as custom chief, where I believe, without knowing the in-depth of the story, was able to come across Madam Cyrus Dobot. And that was 2 years ago when the children, Deconti and the rest of the children, decided to honor their mother and their father right here in my own Ocean State of Rhode Island in the city of East Providence. That's how we want to remember it, and from time to time that we will try to do that. We say our prayers and thought goes out to the bereaved family. Walter, we just got a message. Our guest will be joining us very shortly. He'll be joining us very shortly. Kwame Oprah Weeks is the Director General of the Liberian News Agency, Republic of Liberia. In 2015, precisely, I was in Liberia and I had the opportunity to visit regularly, attend the regular Administrative Information Press briefing right there at the Charles Beyond Memorial Hall on Capitol Hill. Well, during one of those regular meetings, we managed to get hold of Kwame Oprah Weeks, where we were able to set up an arrangement in an exclusive interview with Kwame Oprah Weeks as to how he's going to be taken to the Liberian News Agency, what he intends to do after his appointment by the President of the Republic of Liberia, Dr. George Weah. What I sat down with Kwame Oprah Weeks, and this is how LPR kept the record of Mr. Weeks in that exclusive.
Alrighty, my main focus is, the people we serve, our leaders, who we must first, show that we hold them that explanation, for what, because mind you, we serve at the will and pleasure of the President of the country. So for any reason, I'm more of a laid-back kind of person. I want my work to reflect. It's not about me, and all of that. Not so to say that I don't have problem with people who put their photos in the offices and all of that. But for now, I'm here to do a decent job. And when that time comes,
what is the strength now? We knew the Liberian Agency in the 80s and years back, but because of the devastations of our own side, the war, the different types of transitions in terms of government that have been coming in, I'm quite sure some people leaving, people coming in. What is the strength of your workforce directly under your supervisions with the Liberian Agency?
As we speak currently, we're building this Lena app. You can see that if you could put the camera on here.
So I'm going to focus here. Let's see here.
This is the Liberian News Agency app right here. This is the new app that's been built currently as we speak in India. This app will be coming up the middle part of March, but it's currently been tested. So you see, once you tap that icon, it opens immediately. So it's like we want to keep the entire Liberian news, videos, everything on a one hub. So you got word, entertainment. This is just a test.
And this is a Facebook.
This is just test. These are all damning stories, that they just put there because we're in the building stage. So you see, if you go up, that's entertainment. So we're going to honor the Liberian News Agency with the rights from the Liberian entertainment community. We're going to catalog everything into one-stop shop. So you leave from there, you go, this is top news, okay? From top news, then you go to sports, and then even under the app, we have the Lena website that we currently design This is the current web.
I think this is quite impressive. This has not been in existence though.
Correct.
How you come up with this idea, Mr. Director?
I mean, technology now is what's trending. If you're not ahead of the game, they're gonna beat you. My goal of trying to get this whole thing, it's gonna take a little bit of time because you got the guys like Front Page Africa, Daily Observer, all these different news outlets. They normally supposed to be taking news from us. We're news wires. Most of these guys don't have the kind of money to pay for reporters all around the country. And authenticity has taken a blow, a balancing of news, either journalism as a whole in this country. So what are we doing? I was in Casablanca, Rabat, the other day to attend the Federation of Press Agency in Atlantic States of West Africa, called FAPA. And there we talked about fake news.
Fake news.
And how
It reminds me about the Western world where our man, I wanted to think fake news has been.
right.
Is it taking heed in our country as well?
Of course. Look on the internet. The only thing is, fake news have been around for centuries. But the platforms now are just faster. The conduit, the methods of sending this news out. You can get up in the morning when you're on your stuff and just say, okay, Kwame Weeks is dead. People know you're close to me.
Right. And they
will definitely believe in, and then you tell them, no, it's April Fool when we're not in April. Look at our city here. You see, they get up in the morning, oh, we have a budget shortfall, we have this, we have that, and you find people running helter skelter. So, but
how does the agency intend to combat or make the news real, to give the story as it is, as compared to what we have this fake news? When people, and the rest of it, Facebook is opened social media, people create fictitious names and put it out there. How does the agency will kind of like counterbalance and bring part of these information that people really need how to speak?
Right here, it's all here. Technology, you gotta cope with it. You gotta beat these guys ahead of the game. You can't be more on print. Back in the day.
Everybody is more or less
right.
Moving on the digital.
This is it. This is it. You have, if we can beat them here, which of course we're going to do shortly, and we're in the process.
How long does it take? How do you think?
I don't want to put a timeline, but in the next 6 months, from where we are now, in the next 6 months, maybe by next month, by the middle part of next month, we'll be launching this app, and it's going to be huge. That's the game changer right there. Right after that, it's like you're going to download Facebook. There will be no other news app in this town that can do it. And we're not hiring. We're hiring some of the best minds, out of the country. Now, after that is done, we move into the next step.
What is the step?
The next step is SEO, search engine optimization, to get us on top of the Google search engine. So everything that you says about news in Liberia, it's just the Liberian News Agency. And then, because we're struggling now, we're just like Reuters, like AP. Right. People supposed to come just like the Walmart of news. You come and buy the cheap stories and go sell them expensive. You buy pictures and all of that. You can't do all of this without money.
Now, this is a challenge here, Mr. Director. We're having these proliferations of other news outlet here. What is government or what is your agency regulations in terms of making sure the right information is reported? What are they going to be getting some sort of consent? How the information dissemination process going to take place?
That is not within my purview. Censorship and so forth. There are guidelines. PUF, for example, the Press Union of Liberia, they have rules and regulations. And besides that, you're a journalist. You got a lot of years under your belt. You got the scars to prove it. If you want to write and say, Mr. XYZ is a thief, he stole $10 from Paul, and you write what Paul just said without court. There are a lot of, and I don't want to make these levities skating attacks or allegations, but you can walk up here now, you get any money in your pocket, a couple of hundred, and go to any newspaper and just give a one-sided story. In fact, the way you wrote it, say I want it published in its entirety, they're gonna publish it just like that, all because of the Benjamins.
Something is involved.
Right, and so the profession has taken a huge blow. It has nothing to do with government, has nothing to do with even whatever, but I mean, people are just dishonest.
And I 100% agree with you. Liberian News Agency, Linden is almost like the Associated Press on the western side here. This is a very huge task. Huge task in terms of if the government to succeed in whole development, social, economic agenda, it has to come from this bureau where we are sitting here.
Right.
Is the national government doing everything possible it can to support this agency to get it up to standard that even to people outside of this country that they will know where it goes on the official website and they will be able to get all of the information.
Of course, government, you know, there are priorities. There are a lot of, the president has his hands are full, and he has priorities. And these priorities.
But your agency is a principal and cardinal
to
player
propagate
into this whole thing here
right,
to propagate the government's missions and that development. So
and
is that priority given to your agency?
Right, it is. It is. We just need more. We cannot say it's not given, but we need more.
Like the computers, I saw the computer. Do you think the computers are enough?
They're up to date, but the way my guys are working, these guys work their butts off, for real. I challenge them and tell them, look, you gotta go the extra mile. So you don't have to wait to say, okay, if there's one laptop, you'll share it. But I make sure to get state-of-the-art equipment, even if they're full 5, so the effectiveness and efficiency of it being operated so they don't go down. So it's like cheapest expensive. You might get something cheap and broke afterwards. But I know we're not going to derail. We're on the tracks headed for a successful destination.
Now, right before we're sitting in a nice schooling office here, let me, for the benefit of diaspora Liberian, including myself here, what are we not getting in terms of the information that are coming from the country, getting out there?
I like that question. To the diaspora Liberians, don't believe what you read.
Why?
Trust Ronald Reagan, the former president of the U.S. And when you talk about a diaspora, it's America. If you have a president and one powerful president, Ronald Reagan, he said, trust but verify. Trust but verify. And you see remittances that come into this country, it's all coming, a huge amount come from Liberia, and not Liberia, from the USA. And even you see some of those people that even criticize nastily the government and whatsoever, they say all kinds of bad things. Once they drop the phone, they'll be like,
you are a Facebook giant, like
sending money.
You see a lot of people now, anybody can grab their phones, especially in the western side where the package comes with internet unlimited as compared to people by here. Do you listen to some of those things on the Facebook when they're talking to the president?
I follow. Look, you know, you call me a Facebook giant, and you know our power and strength. But with the professionals, with our new job, there's just certain things you can't just go out there and do because you've been elevated from here to there.
It surprises me.
Right.
I'm like, wait a minute, I can't see my man that I usually.
All I do is I only post our links, you know, do a lot with our links and so forth. But that kind of fighting.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, folks, let us interrupt the current interview with Kwame. As just in the southeastern side of Liberia, what our man, Ambassador Mike Great, is currently based in Greenville, Sando County, Republic of Liberia, is on the line while we await our guests to join us. Mike, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Chief Avonso, and good evening to the people of Liberia and also Liberian citizens in the diaspora.
Okay,
It's great to be here this evening.
okay. Thank you so much for taking off time to join us during this state of emergency in the Greenville, Sano County. Bring up to speed what's happening in Greenville, Sano County. Is the state of emergency? Is it enforced? Are citizens observant? What is the relation with the state security?
Yeah, the the state of emergency have been observed by all citizens, and the stay-home orders also. Citizens are adhering to all of the measures and the mandate by the president. But it's just that this few days there have been a lot of reports from citizens about officers brutalizing citizens around. Just recently, a lady was beaten by 3 police officers uh, with a uh, with a baby on her back. She's 27 years of age, baby mother. Uh, just recently, it was like Sunday night, she was beaten by 3 police officers for what the term has violations. Yeah, and also there have been series of reports from other part of Greenville concerning police brutality. And when we interviewed the girl, because she went at the hospital, she went at the radio station where I also work. She went to report the entire case. She was bleeding from the nose and also from the mouth. Yeah, she said her uncle called her because her father was very sick. It was in the same community, but she left her house to find Dallas crash card. So while reaching on the road, she was stopped by 3 police officers, and she was asked what she was doing. But because it was around 7 p.m., so they asked her, and she tried to explain, but one of the other officers, who she said, according to her, was a little bit drunk, she said. So the police officer slapped her, and her baby fell from her back. So while in self-defense, she also hit back the police officers, and three of them just started to beat on her. So we started the investigation when contacted also the acting police commander. He says that the lady was very rude to the police officers, and that what caused that. And the lady was admitted to the hospital, and we have other women advocacy group that are still on top of the matter, that are talking, other human rights groups that are also on top of the matter concerning that. But also there have been other petty, brutality on citizens by police officers since the stay-home order was reinforced. And also, we just today, because Sino County came in with his first case, who happened to be the superintendent of Sino County, and after the superintendent of Sino was confirmed positive, the health authority were able to trace 39 high-risk contacts and 100 plus low-risk contacts, and those 39 high-risk contacts were quarantined, and they were quarantined, and today they were graduated to go back in their various communities. So the 14 days of observation ended today. And the latest report we have from the Sano County Health Team to the doctor, that is Dr. Jonathan Flomo, he says that the soup is doing okay, the superintendent is okay, all signs and symptoms. There's no signs and symptoms that he's showing, so they have sent a test now to Morovia to see if it comes out negative or positive again. So they are still awaiting the test, but for now he is strong and he's doing better. He's okay. So that's what have been happening here in the county, and we have a lot of other humanitarian groups that have been donating to less privileged and other communities, people who are unable to afford. So we have a lot of people coming, and I'm also applaud some of our lawmakers also who just started coming just days ago, coming in also with their own aid and also bringing some protective equipment for citizens. So it really been good here in Sino.
Yeah, and let me just come to the issue of police brutality. This seems to be the rhythm, this seems to be the sound all over the country, allegedly being reported. Is there any active investigation as far as you are concerned based on what you are telling us from Greenville, Sano County?
Yeah, there have been, I can say, active investigation is ongoing because we, as the press, also we are making sure that we enforce that. There have been a lot of women grouping. We have the medical library who got involved into it. We have the Ministry of Gender. We have the youth. I'm saying the human rights. That's a human rights organization that is here also, and we also have the Sano Women Platform. We have the Wongoso is a women group also, and we have We for Self is a women group also, women advocacy group, and they are also got involved into that because they were saying that that was inhuman, that was so bad, that that shouldn't have been done, but the police officers are wrong, although she's violated, but there should be certain way that they should have handled it, but that was very wrong by beating on her and even getting her son injured into that incident. So police, let me say, those various civil society groupings and other people are getting involved into that. As you know now, we are under the state of emergency, and most of the things will not go too far because there are a lot of rights of citizens that have been suspended, and there are a lot of other so a lot of human rights and other rights that have been suspended. So I think it will go, but we are still making sure that we work through that.
So is it fair to say, based on your analysis and so far what we are hearing, then we hope to get the police or authority side of the story in order to keep it proportionate and well balanced? Yeah, it seems to me excessive force were used by the security, the individuals that were involved. Is that a case so far that you are hearing?
Yeah, I can say because when the lady came, the lady was bleeding. She was even crying of her stomach and crying. If she was born again because she said there were a lot of kick in her stomach because I even have
She
some
was
of the,
kicked.
the photos.
According to
Yeah,
her, she was
yeah,
kicked in the
yeah.
stomach by police
She said she was
officers.
hit. Yeah, she was hit in the stomach by police officer. We have to call it. We call the ambulance because the radio said we call the ambulance and the ambulance have to come for all that night. And later on, the general coordinator for sign-off photo after the entire thing. So we have a lot of people saying, even today said they are still making sure, and I think investigation is ongoing because we have the police commander who were also on quarantine. I think today or 14 days in. So I think she's gonna get more involved also into the matter. Yeah.
So, Ambassador Gray, was there any of the three officers were involved? Anybody being placed on administrative leave or so? Has that happened?
No, nothing like that happened. Because I don't think anything like that happened. Nothing like that. Nothing like that. Even when I even contacted the acting police commander, who is called Truman Barkley, he's also the chief of operation. He told me that the lady was very rude. What he said the
So
lady was
that
very
was
rude
the
on the police
police.
officers.
That seems to be giving justification. That seems to mean that was
Yeah, he
police
said.
own way of reacting
Yeah,
to whatever behavior that
he's,
they found out that she was exhibiting. Is that what she? That seems to what
he
he
said
been
that.
saying.
Yeah, he said the lady was very rude. In fact, the lady injured one of the police officers and a lot of other things that he was saying. So the lady was very rude on the police officers. That was the only thing he told us. The lady was very rude on the police officers. Yeah, but I
Uh,
think that those CSO are working to make sure that that entire thing is investigated properly.
I know we talked on this before, and I tried to call the medical officer, Mr. Flomo himself. We still have something hanging in there. What can you tell us in terms of prior to this state of emergency with this coronavirus itself? What was the local community or the local leadership, as a superintendent and other folks? What were their own involvement in terms of creating an awareness to making the citizen to know exactly what was happening and how the government was going to be approaching it? Was there any massive public relations or some community awareness you think that was sufficient for the citizen to know exactly what was happening?
It was still really done. I should tell you, it was just recently, even the stay-home order when it was announced by the president again. I can say Sunday was just like maybe 5th day or 7 days now since the lockdown. Yeah, even the last 7 days, Sunday never observed that. It was then when the police, the IG spoke, when he spoke in a very hard tone. That's how other people, even when it was announced first, the state of emergency, people were still going on with a regular visit. Even there was there was a little tussle between the superintendent, but then he was not, confirmed with the COVID-19. There was a little tussle between the superintendent and the county attorney. So the county attorney told the people by 3 or non-essential businesses should close and people should at least leave the streets. But the superintendent said no, people should go about their regular business. It should be by 6 before anybody can be able to close their shops. So that people, even later on when that the IG came out with that, reinforcement of the stay-home order before people were even able to start observing that. But the superintendent told people to stay being in the streets. There's no case, because that one you're saying we don't have a case. Let people go around and do their normal business. But there were no awareness from the county own side, except for those buckets that I think the President Project, WIA projects sent to Sino. I think it was like 200 buckets that was distributed among people. It did no, a lot of people didn't get, but the 200 buckets only, were able to feed few citizens of Sino. A lot of people didn't get. Even those various parts of the districts that, as I speak to you right now, even out of Greenville, people are still calling, people are still asking, but why we are left out? Other humanitarian groups been coming and giving buckets, but their main focus is just Greenville, and we out here also, we are living out here. So even the county right now, just recently that the county says they launch a COVID response awareness team. It was just yesterday it was done, because a concession company here called the Hummingbird that will soon be operating gave the amount of 10,000 United States dollars. So
to whom?
United States dollars
to the local authorities.
To the county, and there were 5,000 allocated to their affected communities where they work, and 5,000 were given to the local authority. And in fact, even that 5,000, there was a little noise again that came from that, because the caucus took 1,500 for themselves.
For what?
So
the caucus of Sano County?
The caucus of Sano took 1,500 for themselves. Actually, say it was for their operation, for their gas and other things like that.
Wait a minute. Ambassador, hold on. Wait a minute. The caucus of Sano, that constitutes the 5 elected officials. I believe 3. How many representatives?
Except for one senator is not part of them now because he resigned. That is Senator Tiaji. So the Creighton Omen Duncan, the Nambwe Law, Zaza, they talk about 1,500 for themselves. Yeah.
That is in addition to some of the top.
Yeah, so we have been on the matter discussing. We say no.
What led to the resignation? Any idea that we hope to maybe contact Milton Tiaje? He was the head of that controversial, how you call it, a committee that was set a presidential committee in the Senate with the NEC chairperson in the Senate. What Tiaje is saying that led to his resignation? He resigns from the caucus, or he said he resigned from the caucus?
He resigns from the caucus. I can say about 3 months, 3 to 4 months ago, he resigned from the caucus. Sino County, there have been a long-lasting dispute in the caucus.
Okay, all right. Hold on 1 second. Let me see here. Let's see here. If we can get our caller, our guest here is also about to join us here. Let me see here. So, Mike, I want to call you back. My special guest is here with me. Let me see here to see whether we can call you back here. Hello, Director Weeks, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, good. All right, folks, we want to welcome you. Thank you so much. Our special guest is here. That's the Director General of the Liberia New Agency, Kwame Opa Weeks. One of the veterans in this business is here with me this afternoon. Director Weeks, we want to thank you so much for being part of this program. And it's like coming home here at LPR. We started it, right? And everybody, America being society, everybody tries to get independence, which is good. So it's good that you're here with us. You're here with us this afternoon. Thank you again for being here. And I welcome on LPR.
Thanks for having me, my dear brother. We started LPR together, and I'm very sorry for coming late. I had to meander my way through those barrage of checkpoints in the town. So basically, it's better late than never.
Better late than never. Obviously, there is no way that I'm going to ask Kwame Opa Weeks to introduce himself, but it is a tradition here. You know it better than I do. And,
Right.
every now and then we have new faces or new folks on this network here. So, for the benefit of the doubt, if you can just introduce yourself, and then we will get straight down to the wire.
Well, for those of you who are new to this particular station, Liberian Public Radio, The Messenger, my name is Kwame Opa Weeks, and I am the current Director General of the Liberian News Agency in this current government. I serve as Deputy Campaign Manager for the Congress for Democratic Change, and basically, let's say, a small journalist, and I need to mention my comedian skills in also.
Okay. So, all right, good Director Weeks to have you here. I'm trying to get this video. I don't know why the video is not popping up, but we're going to work with that. Okay, there been a couple of years since we have a conversation here. I'm trying to still get this video because I want my people to see you live to know exactly who we are talking to. Linant, Liberian News Agency, is almost as compared as to the Reuters and major cable wire. Tell us a little bit, how is this agency going so far?
The agency is okay. The Liberian News Agency is a national. It's the only national news agency with a national spread. We have correspondents all over the country. Okay, you name from Grand Jida to Grand Cru up to Nimba. We cover the entire what it is scale of that. So, but as a central news collection agent of the state, we're the only media institution in Liberia with a national spread. The Liberian News Agency promotes a viable and a cohesive nation. We highlight stories that engender national development, integration, reconciliation, and peace. Here at the Liberian News Agency, we practice mainstream journalism. Also, the agency also embraces social media. We diversify and pluralize our platform by telling Liberians. And basically, that's who we are, in a nutshell, right?
Okay, I know the last time you've been here a couple of years now. Is the Liberian News Agency centralized in terms of new collection to Central Command that is in Monrovia, potentially their office, or folks that are be in charge? Are we getting the news that you're supposed to get from all parts of the country as we speak?
Correct. Correct. Take, for example, most media houses were reporting talk about the F slip in Cape Mount County recently, where you have illegal mining, illicit mining happening. Everything is politicized in this town. That particular tragic accident where there were only 2 fatalities, you have people reporting as high as 50 people dying, until the Liberian News Agency, who had the only correspondent on the ground, who was based in St. J, was able to gather that particular story. And as we speak, there are people still peddling the idea of 50 persons die and so forth, but in fact it was actually a disaster that 2 persons lost their life.
When you say people, who are those people that Director Weeks is making reference to? I'm just a little bit curious here.
I mean, it was all on social media that 50 persons, 40 persons, it's nothing to target anybody, but people were being misinformed. The preliminary report on the incident that occurred it happened 2 a.m. in the morning. That was Tuesday. 4 individuals went to illegally work on this mining in a pit. The do Class C mining there, and the dish tumbled and it fell, and out of 2 escaped and 2 died. But you go on the internet now, there's 50, 40, Joshua government and all of that. So basically, I don't want to delve in that. I just giving you factual news when you ask me whether the Liberian news agency is reporting in-depth coverage from around the country.
Let's look at the processing of information, communication, the Ministry of Information, the Liberian News Agency, the state corporation here. For those that do not know, set the boundaries for us here in terms of the processing of news, because this has been the problem. Hopefully, you will agree in terms of people that are speaking for the government, and the state news agency, which is the Liberian News Agency, should be concrete information should be coming, but there are multiple statements always coming from other loyalists or supporters of the president or the ruling party, if you will, to say, how is this news processing being managed? What do we need to know?
The Liberian broadcasting system is a state-owned radio, and state radio owned network in Liberia. It was founded as a corporation in the early 60s. Basically, that's what I can tell you. And during the time there was ELTV, ELBC, they had the shortwave radio and all of that. That was good radio by then. Fast forward, in 1979, the Liberian News Agency was founded because you had OAU, the Organization of African Unity, Liberia was hosting it. And so we were agreeing to news agencies because moreover, people respect the National News Agency because they feel the information filtering out of these places are authentic. Now, if you take the Liberian News Agency, for example, whilst you were online, but before online version, those days they used to transmit news through SSB radios, telexes, telegrams, and all of that. Before those were obsolete. Now fast forward, everybody moved to online. So the online, what do? We do what we prepare a daily cast. So say we send reporters out in the field, they gather the news content. We don't do televisions. You understand? We don't do television. Television is strictly LBC. We're more developmental journalism. We're not, you can't say we're a mouthpiece of the government because you have the press secretary, you have the minister of information, before you can.
Is it fair to say,
our platforms.
Is it fair to say, or will there be illusions or wrong interpretation that the Liberian News Agency, part of its responsibility is to articulate the government message? Is that the case?
We articulate government message based on developmental journalism.
It's not right. It's not micromanaged.
But we cannot go and speak on behalf of the president on his personal stuff and all of that. You have the press secretary who does that because that's his office. That's his TOR. Now, we said a donor comes and donate 7 buses to the President of the Republic of Liberia. It is our place to say what happened to those buses, who lives those that are commuting on those buses, how their lives have been affected by that particular donation. So, say the IMF gave money. You have Médecins Sans Frontières. You have what the group name, GIZ. All of these different NGOs that come and make donations. UNFPA. CPAC, you just name it. We try to follow what happens to those donors' funds, and we also gather the day-to-day national news from our various correspondents.
Talking about donor funds, there was some sort of apprehension that when it was reported that the government of Liberia has used or applied funds inappropriately, donor funds. Was that reported in the Liberian News Agency?
We don't delve into allegations, if we have factual news, that's what we report. Because most of the news that are consumed in the Liberian community, especially that affect the diaspora, comes out of the opposition, and they try to put their own spin on it the way they want it.
Director
So
Weiss,
basically,
yeah, are you saying that was the creation of the opposition?
yeah, but you have to be specific of a specific case, how much was taken in what case and all of that. If we can comment on that, but this is, you're painting with a broader brush, Mr. So we cannot comment on something and, oh yeah, this person took money XYZ. Say on June 12th, it was reported that XYZ allegedly embezzled X amount of money, and the government was accused. Did you guys report that story? And then we can come up with it. We reported on the 16 billion. We reported on the 25 million. If you go on our website, just type a keyword and a key search word, and you're going to see all that we've reported on.
So if this was assuming, based on what you are saying, the work of the opposition, or if it was even alleged, and youth Liberian News Agency happens to be a giant cable news outlet, that other sources, other people outside of the country will be going to also get news, did your guys, or did you go further to also have your own investigation, or that was just swept under the rug?
We don't investigate stuff that we know is unfounded, is baseless, is not corroborated. So this is just a waste of taxpayers' money to follow stories that we know what the story is all about. Because anything happening in this country, we're fed the information first before it goes out to the public. I understand other people do their private digging. What's happening now, you see in the country, people are trying to plant people in burial ministries. So they will come out and take maybe the photocopy of Alfonso Zionso, of his passport, and forward it to maybe a pundit, and they can put it on social media, because you know that's citizen journalism. We can't stop anybody. The entire world is armed with a cell phone nowadays. You see what happened now in the United States, the war between the blacks and the cops. You know, cell phone had tried to discover. That's not the same situation we're having here. Every information that's been placed on social media is something that is static. You don't see, okay, a live, you know,
but you may agree with me to by and large, social media was wisely, I would say wisely, usually used when you were in the opposition to articulate. So is it coming as a surprise, Director Weeks?
No. It depends on how you want to use it. We use it more.
You use it wisely at the time?
We put our camera lenses on the VIP. That's where we kept the camera lenses. When we went to do our CDC hour, we kept the lenses on us. We were not looking for things that were not looking for us, you know. And it's up to, I'm not coming here to tell people how they should, you know, propagate their message and how they think that they, as opposition, would like to engage the government. But you see now all on social media, people are engaging government in a way now where government be like, no, I don't think these guys mean business. Because
do they have any reason for doing that, Director Weiss?
Because if you see now, you have over 10-15 platforms with some respectful people who are using invectives. They
Please bear with us here. Hopefully, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, I'm back.
Mm-hmm.
In our local parlance, we say, what did they say? Ma and pa cost. Or you engage someone like that, you know. Especially you see all the televisions you watch out there, CNN, MSNBC, and all of that. They go for the issues, even if they will throw the kitchen sink at you. There's a way to do it. You know, you don't see them going after family, you know, children, and I mean the level of
is the government not forthcoming with information? So could that be the reasons? I'm trying to create a suspicion here, and this is not something that I really have innuendos and throw the sort of soundbite here.
What kind of information they asking for?
Well, that's the
freedom of information.
The freedom.
Go ahead.
That's the million-dollar questions. The government is not being sincere. That's their government. Are these legitimate reason for which sometimes they will step over their bounds? And do you think the information is being properly put out there as it should be?
Take a lawmaker, for example, like Honorable Yeke Koluba. Okay? How do you engage such a person? Let me just make it, because the reason I'm calling his name, because he's a lawmaker. He's in government, right? How do you engage such a person who says that, COVID-19 is not real? The people who are contracting the disease is fake. Government is doing that because of money. When you see the world, all planes stop, hotels stop, people way of life stop. How do you engage that kind of person? How? Tell me. You tell me. Constructively, how do you engage them?
That's a one instance. Is that so much? Is that enough to sum up everything?
How is it an isolated incident? The rest of the folks, I can't call their name because they're not part of government, so they're not important to the process. You know, they're not important to the process. If you go now on different platforms, you have former government officials who felt that they were not, I don't know whether they felt, whatever they felt in them. You go now, they have platforms everywhere, and they're insulting the president. They're threatening to overthrow the government. They're calling for step down campaigns. And how do you engage those folks? I mean, this government is not going to waste of time no more on things that they know is not important. You know, if they have legitimate, you saw me go make during my panoramic tour in this country. We took our own governmental tax, talking to people in West Point that don't have a common latrine facilities. You know, is this government is not honest? Are you kidding me?
So I'm getting the questions online here, Director Weeks, not to intercept you here.
As long as they are good questions and they are engaging and they are facts, we will answer those questions.
All right, you will be the determinants of these questions. We will censor them to make sure they are in the line of our own profession here. Someone here is asking, is LINA, that's the Liberian News Agency of which you preside over as the Director General, is he a propaganda arm of the government of the Republic of Liberia now?
Fair question, and I think it is good that you say those people who are asking the question. You say their names. You know, it's only fair so we know who they are. We're not. This is not the Politburo where they will be targeted and ask. Once you know the question is void of profanity, we will answer it. Now to this question, whether we are propaganda arm, partially you could say that. We propagate government's message. We see the cup always halfway full versus halfway empty.
You seem to be walking back on our previous discussion.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm answering the individual's question.
Okay, go. Yeah, go ahead, and I will come in.
Right. And his question was whether we are a PR arm of the government. And I said partially. You can push us close to, you can push us around 65, 35. You know, because Liberian News Agency and the Burkina Faso, let me share this information with you. Liberian News Agency and the Burkina Faso News Agency are the two agencies in the world that are not independent. They get subsidy from government. When the Liberian News Agency was subsidized or funded by the Germans, then, you know, they at that time, writers were they could criticize the government, but with facts, you know, and it was allowed. But it's like more, you know, you can't sit on my shoulders. You know, that kind of parable. You can't sit on my shoulder and say, you know, I don't smell good, you know. And basically, I think that's it.
Do you think After the departure of the Germans or those that were supporting for example, like you mentioned, the Liberian New Agency, now the national government now is the sole funder or perhaps a good chunk of a subsidy to the Liberian New Agency. Don't you see there as some sort of a den being put on the institutions in terms of how you're going to articulate, get the message out there? Because I am a Liberian, I need to know what my government is doing, and if the media institutions is being subsidized by the same very government, not the citizen, the possibilities of having some information not being properly out there is somebody might be scratching their head. Do you think that way?
Right. Right, fair question, but we always come across as balance. Why? So say for example, a minister embezzles $25, right? And he takes that $25, and it is found that indeed that minister took that $25. Liberian News Agency will report it. They will report it. If that minister goes to jail, we will report it. Take Mr. the former NHS bus, National Housing Bus, when he was accused of alleged taking bribe or whatever. We published everything on the way to the trial, and during the trial when he was acquitted, we published that. You know, we published the COP, the CP,
is your editorial
all the story, the protests and everything. We carry all of those.
Is your editorial been censored by national government before publication?
No. I have not even the Minister of Information. The Director General has the sole authority in determining what goes out to the public.
Not even passing it by to your boss.
Basically, you could say my boss, but the Liberian News Agency, we have the Minister of Information. He has a whole different role. He does not meddle with the production aspect. He's more on the financial, and when Liberia needs to, or the agency needs to sign a bilateral agreement with any other news agency around the world. So we have a deal with a bilateral deal with Qatar News Agency, okay, that we sign. I cannot sign that document because the Constitution gave the right to the Minister of Information. But I have the right as a project manager to run the day-to-day affairs of the agency. That's why the act that created the Liberian News Agency said within the Ministry of Information, there shall be a Liberian News Agency created for XYZ purpose. Okay, and then they start to break down the different functions of the DGN. Even the deputy director on editorial services and all of that for administration is not mentioned in that act.
Well, folks, I'm Afonso Zienso from the New England Bureau of the Liberia Public Radio in an exclusive with the Director General of the Liberia New Agency, Kwame Opa Weeks, is joining me from the nation's capital of Monrovia. Director Weeks, let me bring in this question here. I saw you this morning. There was some interview with the sitting Vice President of the Republic of Liberia, correct?
Yep, correct.
Who reached out to who? How that happens? Do you care to tell us?
It's nothing about who reached out to who. We're both in the government, and the interview happened. And basically, I think the substance of the interview is more important versus who reached out to who. Because when we see when the VP office works, and they have a very, very, very awesome PR team, you know, and they orchestrate the day-to-day affairs, who the VP is supposed to talk to, what the VP needs to do an interview, and they pick who they want to pick. And so when we got the call that we might be getting an interview, you know, soon with the Vice President, we just prepare ourselves for it. And when it happened, it did. So basically, you saw the interview, and we're waiting to get the reviews to come in and what the ratings will be.
Is that part of national government is to change their tone of communications? Is that some sort of a strategy? Because I had the privilege, the opportunity also to sit with the VP, very eloquent. I sounded it, and there was some really tight question. Was this is here some sort of a strategy by national government to change some of the narrative out there?
Um, I can say I know you're a very smart man. This is not to change some of the narrative, but we just see that you know we see that as a moment that we think to get this message out, especially when you have the Chinese DCM, that's the Deputy Chief of Mission, or the Charge d'Affaires, is reaching out to the VP's office based on her solo effort, and in the fight against this particular disease. Now, Mr. So, Liberia does not want to fight this disease in a hospital. I know you go on Facebook, you got some respectful Liberian young sons and daughters out there wishing, death on government officials, all kinds of outlandish stuff all on Facebook, something that we cannot authenticate the authenticity of it. But basically, this is the era of the way we news is sent out. So there's nothing we can do about it. But we're living the moment, and I don't think government is re-strategizing to change the narrative. It's just the moment. Maybe you call it a coincidence.
The proliferations of Liberians from all angles, within and outside of Liberia, and some of the tone, and I agree with you, I'm not in support on some of the tone, the language being expressed, but again, that's the beauty of the war. It seems to me this thing gets under the skin of the president. Do you feel that way?
Never, never,
Does he?
never, ever, ever. All in caps, never. You should know the president well.
Does he watch
You know.
Does he watch live podcasts on Facebook?
I have no idea, but the president, no one in this
But
world,
how he
even you see
managed to
Trump is
know?
on
Because
Twitter,
one of the
and
reasons,
this president,
as you know, is all things considered here, and that's our agreement here. What you want to speak to, that's
right,
fine. And
right,
you also have the
right,
result. But then, how come
right.
a couple of years ago that the president validated the argument of this gentleman, Key from Morocco, and making the reference? Don't you see that as the president? Somebody would be thinking, okay, if the president is not watching, why would he be making the reference to somebody who was saying those sort of ridiculous things?
But the president is the president. He chose where he wants to speak. I can't comment on what the president does. I'm not his aide-de-camp. I'm not his press secretary. But if the president went in an open place and made a speech, and I'm there, and I have correspondent there, we will have the audio, and we will put out what the president says. So even if we're challenged, we have a verbatim account of that. So I can't comment on and say, oh, why the president said X, Y, Z, why he didn't say X, Y, Z. I mean, come on.
Recently, the president was out though there after it was reported, it was alleged. What you have at that, I don't really buy into. But what I'm interested in the comments of the president. If people sit down on Facebook, they don't want to do anything. If you're sure you want to talk, you must bring 1 million mask. That was a little bit kind of mind-boggling. Will you agree with that? There are thousands of Liberians. You were in the diaspora yet, and people are making meaningful contributions, financial contributions that is keeping the citizen also lessening the burdens of government. Is the government of Liberia doesn't get that for the president to come up with that here? Isn't that mind-boggling that Liberians are making enormous sacrifice and they'll be
Mr.
always
So
the
let me
first?
stop. I don't know where you're going with this, but the president is not, he's a human being, okay? He's a human being. And when he speaks, he knows why he speaks. Now, if he says, if you want to make XYZ remark, bring a million marks. The president also will not. This is the same president who always say heart out or heart offs to people in the diaspora who send remittances in the hundreds of millions to the economy. You understand? But politics is politics, and you listen to Madam VP today. When I ask her honestly, is your government being fairly criticized? She said, yes, That's the work of the opposition. They will criticize on anything, but it is you, your responsibility, or the criticized, to pick what he wants to respond to. So if the president chose to respond that way, it is the president. So it shouldn't make the one who's criticizing cannot have his cake and eat it, because this is not mancos coming from the president. You know, you're attacking the president's children, and you know in the States that is off limit, lay off. You don't do that. You know, you see posts, you know, people putting posts up talking about your time is near. You know, and these are the same people who live in the Americas cannot even, you know, you Alphonse, go on your timeline now, and say, Mr. Trump, your time is near. And see if the Secret Service don't show up at your door. And see if one Liberian will ever stand for you when they pick you up. All of them will say, oh, Alphonse, so look for it. Take, for example, you know how many people a man just jumped over the fence of the White House, right? You know, people, I don't know what they're reading. You know, the security, the head of the Secret Service here gets up in the morning and he assesses the threats against the president or whoever is the president of the day. He determines what will happen that day. He said, okay, if today someone tried to jump the fence, if somebody tried to do, he has his whole details. How he reacts is up to him, you know? But his sole duty, he gets up in the morning, is to protect the life of this VIP. Okay? And you see people everywhere, they're running with all kinds of stuff. So now, guess what's about to happen? No one's going to listen to the way they're engaging now. So if we can have a substantive debate like the one you and myself have now,
that's the same.
If we, you know, shy of you know, what ifs, you delve into hypotheticals, what the president would do if this, that. You and myself know in 2002 what happened to the president at 9th Street. Those same people drank and slept in our house. Was it a town? Was it a hut? Was it a village tent that the president was living in? Come on. You know?
But
it got burnt down to ashes.
Okay, now to you, let the cat out of the bag. Let's expand on that a little bit. That with the whole, we have the tape here. Consistent that repeatedly the deputy press secretary, we had extended an invitation way long ahead of this, and I want to say here publicly to say thank you, because it was just quick late and reach out and you say, okay, I'm all for it. I hope Mr. Toby too will pick time to do that. Yeah, and what is happening to right now within the executive branch of government? You in the media industry, you are a guru. The deputy press secretary now is saying he's walking back his statement. The inner people. How can he say that? Is he not one of the inner cycles of the president? Are you going to be coming from time to time?
He won't. That's a human being. Human beings make mistakes. His mistake must have come at a time where
that was a slip of tongue.
People were asking, you know, a legitimate or illegitimate question based on how they want to term it, and maybe he had to go back. I am not Smith Toby. I'm not within the confines of the president to know, you know, what he could have or should have said. You understand? And until that, if he came back and said, "Oh, X, Y, Z," though I haven't listened to both statements. I've been very busy.
Director,
so
wait,
cannot,
come on, don't tell me that you what you want to say?
I'm being honest. You've been following me. I get up, Mr. So. I get up in the morning and look, I'm so happy that I can contribute to my country in any kind of shape, form. Even if I'm called out of service, I have so many ways to contribute to my country than to sit down on Facebook cussing President Ma. We would have done it. You know what happened to me in the USA. You know, okay? You're part of the Grand Judah community. You know, I cried to the community. The president wrote a letter to the U.S. immigration, you know, trying to make my case. I lost my asylum case. Well, it's all on the internet. that I was selling drugs, but they will not put my mug shot there because they don't have it. You know, right today they had a lady. I saw people posting all kinds of stuff, but they don't have it. They can't make no argument with Kwame Opa Weeks because my record in the United States of America is white as snow. I never even had a parking ticket. Okay? And so my community knows my family, all the people that I know. And so when we got the voluntary departure and we came to our country, we didn't fold our head, we didn't put our stuffed hands on our head. We felt that the world is a global village. We're connected right here. So we're interacting now on the internet. You might okay, now take a look at Liberia. There is nobody in this country that tries to thrive. They will not call you BM. They will not call you rogue. They will not call you. Look at my president. Look how he's been insulted daily and called all kinds of names. Who am I? Little Kwame. You know, when you come in and I'll just be dancing, doing my work. It moves nothing. It just tells you that this government will not engage anybody who comes with disrespect. You got to engage constructively, and we will listen.
That seems to be the message. So all of the folks that are surrounding the president, that's not my first time hearing this. I've been hearing it from other government officials, and it seems to be coming into play here. Was that some sort of instructions given by national government for people to propagate out there?
How is it? It's from a dialogue playbook. It's international. You know, you see Democrats, you saw Joe Biden place a call to Donald Trump, of all persons, during these COVID times. And you heard Donald Trump say some of his advice, I took some I won't take. Okay? And these are people you see who throw kitchen sinks at one another. We can't, our politics and everything, the way of life, has been Xeroxed, photocopied from the US of A and brought to these shows. So why we can't practice that politics? You know, that's what I like. My favorite politician in the US is John McCain. He said, never get into a fight with a pig because you might get dirty. You know, and he keeps saying that because if you start coming with that kind of nasty politics, somebody might want to go back. But if our leaders say, no, you guys cannot go in those kind of stuff, let them do whatever they want to do. But as long as they're willing to engage like civilized people, we all will talk. Right. We all will talk.
It seems to me, as long as this sort of tone, like you had just alluded to, if it is continuing to factor in, there will be no sort of conference table to be the opposition to pressure group from national
why
government.
Why do you see the Telias and all of these people withdrawing from their organizations? Why are they backing off?
What are you hearing? You in Liberia, what are you hearing, Director Weeks, in terms of their withdrawal? What are you hearing?
I'm not hearing anything, but I think no civilized man would know and say, okay, I want to follow a group where we're cussing people, we're making baseless argument, we're throwing stuff out there, we're sending people. We're not living in a gangster paradise. If you claiming that Kwame is a gangster, engage him in a way. You who are not gangster, engage me in a civilized way so I can change. You get that? If you say Silesians are little Silesians, they are this, they are that, they're not civilized, but yeah, you cussing man calls, power calls, saying all kinds of stuff that are unfounded, baseless, you throwing stuff out recklessly, how do you expect me, who you're accusing of being not wrong as you are?
Is it fair to say some of these sound bites or these sort of ridiculous statement here, is it fair to say it's been coming within the system too? For example, the party chairman, the CDC party chairman, there was some outrageous thing. Me as a citizen, I really didn't agree with that, but How?
I never listen to the tips, so I can't comment on that.
You never listen to the tips. Kwame Weeks.
No.
Let us
Because
turn the camera on. Let's turn the camera
where
on.
those tapes, listen to me. Where those tapes were played, I don't follow. So I'm being honest with you. If they were played on Mr. Soul's show, okay, I will follow, I will listen, but then I will not be able to independently verify the corroborate the authenticity of it. So I will not conclude.
It's fair to say
the individual mention comes out and say XYZ, then I can.
Is it fair to say that, like what man said, Donald Trump, those were lack of talk or what?
I can't comment. I can't comment on something that I have not viewed.
Meaning they
I'll
are.
listen to.
Meaning they are.
I never listened to them, so I can't comment on them.
Do you intend to live since you are Director General of the Liberian Agency?
In the future, when my work is over, I will take my time and listen to them.
So suppose you went out there today on the missions and representing the Liberian Youth Agency, which is our Associated Press in Liberia, and some of your counterparts were to say, Director Weeks, this is what we heard from your country. Why are you telling me here today? Would that be the same thing you're going to be telling them?
Oh yeah, the Liberian News Agency is a founding member, executive founding member of the Federation of African Press Agency in the Atlantic called FAPA. Look it up, FAAPA. And I must say kudos to my predecessor, Mr. Nambwe Slaw. He did a great work. The headquarters is in Rabat, Morocco, and Mr. Hashimi is the president of that. I had the opportunity to travel to Moscow, that's Russia, and there we were invited by the by TASS, that's the TASS, is the Russian the Russian news agency, and our organization were given a photo up with President Putin, and it was a great experience to know that Liberia, that is member of FAPA, was mentioned, and to tell you, they come on our website. People like take the Chinese for example. They don't go to most other papers. They come to the National News Agency to get information about government, because they know they're where what the government wants is what they're going to find there. So it's the same way like Morocco News Agency. Why it's true, it is independent, but it propagates message of the government, and that's the only platform government uses. And they are authorized to use sound criticism.
Okay.
Take my questions. Yeah.
Yeah. It was quite fascinating. I have the video here. Just before you came on, I showed you. I said, "Well, this guy, he's talented. I know who you are." You were brave enough to walk on Capitol Hill today to sit one-on-one exclusive with the Vice President. So I am anxious here, and I want you to be a little bit definitive to me here. The bravery that took you to the Vice President in a one-on-one exclusive. When will we see Director Kwame Opa Weeks taking his microphone to the President of the Republic of Liberia in an exclusive as well?
This exclusive it happened at the residence of the Vice President.
Okay.
She invited us. Yeah, we went to her home. It was a beautiful, beautiful place. I mean, the aura, it was nice. And then the DCM showed up. Shikon, that's the ambassador for the Deputy Chief of Mission for the Chinese Embassy. We were welcomed wholeheartedly. Reception was very warm. She laughed all through. She's somebody you want to really hang around. And she told me, Mr. Weeks, you can ask anything. You got your time, your hour. I'm all set.
I was not privileged. I was not privileged to go in depth during my last visit when I was in your office, and I was just shooting the video, and I wish I would have that opportunity. But I also understand it was on a high political attention here. But let me get your sense of impressions in terms of the answers she was providing. Do you see authenticity? You asked some critical questions.
Oh yeah.
The
Oh yeah.
women,
100%.
the reported violations, police. Brutality. We also hearing there are some other counter act by civilian. But from what we are seeing so far, just before you could come on, our correspondent was reporting from Sino how a lady, 3 police officers manhandled, brutalized the lady. The lady with around 7 o'clock. In itself, fair to mention, it was after the state of emergency, but with a child on her back. So now the question becomes, why all of these sort of alleged reporting of police manhandlings of civilians?
Let me tell you this. What her name? We're not going to use sporadic cases, or isolated cases to measure this government. You were talking about where, thank God, it happened in Sino.
But there are some cases. There was one in Monrovia. There was one in Monrovia. I have the video at Johnson Street as well, where the tear gas was fired.
Yeah, no, listen. I mean, I'm not saying because it happened in Sino, I'm saying that we see this in the country. Mr. So, if you
but
take
preparators, Kwame
Wade,
and we see it in there, but then people are being held accountable. They will be placed on temporary administrative hold until investigations are conclusive.
You're not doing your research from Bond County when two officers were kicked out of the military because they paraded a civilian in the street nude, and there was a court set up, and they kicked them out of the military. So this is not fair analysis.
I'm just making
this
reference.
Government has right. So if you see cases like that, like what's happening, these are isolated cases. But you see, what took me to Shaki Kamara's parents yesterday, because it's the same time, although we're not in August, but this is the same time we're facing a deadly scourge, a deadly virus. When we were facing a deadly virus in 2014, then a young kid lost his life, to the military. Another kid got shot with his whole intestine coming out. At the JFK, they left that boy there to die. Basically, left 3 of them to die. They were taken back at Redemption, and Redemption grabbed them. You heard the grandma say, my grandson was so tested to the point where he had to yank the drip bag to drink before he could die. It was so what is the name? Sorrowful. But I had to go there to draw the line, because you go all on social media, we were being painted as monster. So I had to go and draw both picture, juxtapose, and you will never compare that.
Yeah, so Director Weeks, when you say isolated, yes, the government, national government is in control. You have a city, you have a superintendent, you have law enforcers out there.
In Liberia, we can be, man, Alfonso, this country, we practice situation ethics. On the way we introduce
so
or
let me just ask you here,
laws.
As a government news outlet, a Liberian news agency, also responsible, also in the media industry, in getting information out there, do you think that sort of civil public awareness in terms of policing and civilian relationship, was that sort of conscientized prior to this state of emergency as to how the police and the civilians should play their part?
Yeah, the past police director and other folks, we had the mill, they helped to train. Don't forget, this country, and I don't want anybody to quote me and say, okay, we're going to get. But if you look at Liberia Liberia is in post-war. You lived during the 70s, 80s, and saw normal Liberia. Forward now. You were here in Monrovia recently. You saw how urban migration. You saw that tape on the children fighting to look for water. Okay? To this, they're celebrating because they got a 5 cents bucket of water. So when we discuss Liberia, we got to be honest to know that most of the people here.
It seems like where you are suggesting
if
we
you-
must buy more time for this government. That's the direction. Is that the direction it's
It
going?
don't matter any government that come. Liberia we still need to do a lot when it comes to de-traumatization.
Is this government moving in that direction?
People go through. You have to. That's why you still have these non-profit, the United Nations Arms. You have UNFPA, UNDP. Take road safety, GIZ, the road safety fund. How much they're pumping? Yet you find motorbike riders here. They say, "Oh, my man, we know how to ride. We cannot use helmet. Helmet are nothing like that skin." You know? Can you imagine that? So it's tough. It's not something when you're not in the seat, you would just think, say, "Oh no,
So,
yeah, why?"
It seems, you know, it's like now, what I'm trying to sense out here, Director Wish, is like, okay, when we were in the opposition, we thought you're going to be a peanut butter and jelly. Now we are in the system, so we are in the glass house. We're getting to understand how government works. Is that a direction? Is that a pain this government feeling?
It is a fair assertion you're making, but we have a president of a republic. We have the vice president. And you heard me ask her that honest question, whether your government is honorably being criticized. She said, yes, no matter how they criticize, it is up to us to choose what we want to respond to. Okay? So we did that. But you cannot treat Liberia the same way you treat which country didn't fight war, like Ghana and other countries. You cannot mention us. When we were normal, right? The Ghana you today want to compare Liberia other folks, they were coming to us. They ran here to be taught. Our neighbors came here. Woo! If you don't know, when you talk about Pan-Africanism, you had 3% leading the whole Africa. You had Totman, Sekou Touré, Kwame Nkrumah. Who else? Okay? Nkrumah. So this is the Liberia. But you cannot come and bash Liberia because you don't like President Weah. Hello? We had our zenith, our pinnacle, where we were. And now we dropped. We took a dip. Now, for us to get out of this quagmire, dig ourselves out of this hole, it has to be nationalistic approach.
This rate on here seems to be repetitive here. Most of the time when you talk to insiders or supporters of officials of the government of Dr. Weah, if you hate it, do you guys feel, or government or people feel, that there's some sort of personal hatred against this president? Is that this feelings that has been developed with inside?
No. We can't use 1 or 2, 3 citizens to say personal hate when the president is elected. Are you kidding me? Elected by 99.99% of the people.
How come this word has always been thrown out there? The people hate.
That's a strong word to say. People hate. Whoever want to hate is up to them. But you know, the president don't take his citizens. He take them better. He respect them. Every citizen, even those ones. You saw the president reach out to one of his conscious critics, and people were like, "Oh no, this and that," and he said, "No. As long as people extend a hand of friendship, I won't clench my fist." And he did on many occasions, and it is always them that keep wanting to stop.
Yeah, other people say now that the government GOL has successfully infiltrated the oppositions or the pressure group to see what is happening. That is falling. I personally, I knew that the manner in which I had not believed in. I also have apprehensions on some of the behaviors of the government, the oppositions, even the pressure group. And if you watch Bobby Wine of Uganda, who is opposition, whose driver was killed in the process of articulating, but he was still resilient. And if you listen to his tone, sitting down with Al Jazeera, our opposition folks, they are unable, they yet to get to that sense of maturity to have these sort of conversation. Will the ruling party?
You mentioned. Okay, go ahead.
Will the ruling party see what is happening here now? Will there be a twist end game with this president being re-elected based on the.
I want to say, let me. You mentioned Bobby Wine, right? You know the same thing that happened in our house recently with the $6,500. Bobby Wine returned his portion of money back. He returned it to back to
Right.
right. You follow that, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I challenge
So
the
that's the
opposition
kind of-
because we issued
right.
a commentary on that here. Look, you can't be in two places at the
Our
same time.
men, our men who
So-
preaching whatsoever, they ate their own. In fact, they took it. They didn't even say a jack.
Now, this seems when there's covert is subsided here, I forecast that the GOL or folks of the government are going to strongly use that against the opposition. And I brought that out here recently here. And I saw Akaros Gray yesterday sitting down without no respect, but I also said, but wait a minute, who is this? Is that boy couple back to town from Mariboro or Lone Star? But on a serious note, that was very, very much on the part of our senators. Look at like this guy here. We yet to authenticate. I would try to reach out to Milton TJ. They said there was some sort of money giving. And we have said this repeatedly at LPR here. And I hope there's going to be a continuing conversation with you and other government officials to give them their side of the story. You know, I know, new has to be balanced. It has to be proportional. You cannot disadvantage. You cannot say one side and leave it one side here. I know we are running out of time here. What is happening in the war? And I hope we're going to have this sort of conversation here. What are we not getting that we need to know? And the President of the Republic of Liberia or the government message, what do we need to understand that are we not understanding in today's war?
Yeah, the president comes into office, he said roads, farms. We need to graduate from subsistence farming, shifting cultivation, and move to mechanized farming. I need to fill that slot with somebody. That's my brainchild. Roads now we see, these PSI roads connecting in the community where government is paying in herself. Now, people are not listening. People are not following. They're only engaging in things that they want to know and hear.
Do they have any reason to have those sort of apprehension that they are having? Or they just boldness or what?
I can speak for them. I can speak for them. And if I speak for this government, there are certain limits that I cannot speak information. My boss, who is currently, undergoing treatment, and he's doing very, very fine. Tomorrow we have a show at BBC called the MICAT Hour. It's a 1-hour show every Friday morning with the Deputy Minister of Technical Service, Honorable Baraka Fofana. And all these messages of government that people are out there. The one they don't want to know, what they want to discuss, maybe they want to discuss, okay, you come, you say, no, they want other countries around the world. Liberia is not a totalitarian regime. The leader is not a despot. He's not a dictator. So you see the streets now, people are there. Africa, before the study came on COVID, the white man said it's going to be tough for Africans to practice social distancing. Alfonso, in America, we wait on the weekends for these parties or for program because how bored we are to our houses. You're not going to go to the next man's place. So the Liberians living in the States, they are composed, they are compared, naturally you're in social distancing, you and your family. You now from work, you will not stop to a bar because you're afraid you don't know the American system. You're going to come home. You're waiting for maybe Bazon District or the Grand Jury Association to have something because that's your own you can identify with. So we've been practicing that decades before. Liberians, you see Ivorians, they're in their community, in the States. They don't mess with the African American because they know they're going to get shot. You know, there are a whole lot of things they know. So there's a deterrent there. But because this president say, okay, you have freedom of speech, you have all of this stuff, but still, even the responsibility part, people are not respecting it. You know, so they feel they can insult. You can't cuss your way up to the executive mansion. You can't use violence. If the president were any other president, when June 6th, January, wherever protests that came, trust me, this time would have been a bloodbath because he was taunted. They did all kinds of things to him, but he never wavered. He said, that's my people.
Was just an attempt to do something? National government? Did they intend
It was
doing
never
something?
an attempt, but I'm saying if, hypothetically, if he was not, we saw what all happened here.
So meaning there was a violation, you think, by the protesters?
I don't know whether they violated or whatever, but when people, the second protest, when people started, you know, bringing copa, lighting fire, all that stuff on the executive, I mean, that's a sacred ground. If you can't respect, you saying we not go to school, okay, we accept that. You want to go to school now, you got to behave like student, right?
Director Kwame Opa Weeks. It seems to me from what I'm hearing, and I hope, can you make it possible, because even one of your bosses, Minister Fagon, we were close buddy. We have tried to reach out because they speak directly for the government, or even Minister Fagon, Lane Eugene Namwe. Is it possible to, through your influence, that we can have some of them here? And this is, I hope they will do that, because we don't want them to, and this is why our conversations is very much unique. We are respectful in the process, but we ask the questions that needed to be asked. Before we let you go, can sometime the president, do you think, maybe with your bosses, can the president watch some of these videos, women, people crying, Mr. President, these are your people? Because at the end of the day, when there's no decision, it dies on the president, as if, and fair to mention, the president may not be aware of everything that is happening, but what happened, the repercussion when there's no action taken, then is like it is the consent of the president. Is he concerned with all of these things that are going on?
I don't think Alfonso, the president is not concerned about Facebook Liberia.
Even when somebody, when there's a tear gas fire and the woman is fainting, the president is not concerned
about the Republic of Liberia.
Yeah, but I'm
Facebook
saying,
Liberia.
yeah, I'm saying
Because
when there's a,
most of those
I'm coming Director Week. I am
know,
saying
most of those photos, most of those videos, most of those photos that are put out there are doctored. So the president is not going to use Facebook to come and say, okay, I will address my people based on that. The president is here. He's briefed daily. He has security briefings, economic briefings, and you name it. Even these COVID times.
So before we go, are you saying those live videos that we see, not the videos coming from the diaspora, Spawn TV, KMTV, and other networks, where he's been accused, and we see men and women in uniform?
We have people for that. We got people for that. We have these same people. If you feel that police, they was in America, what happened? Donald Trump don't address when a policeman did X, Y, Z to anybody. They go to the law. You got the mayor, you got all of those people, and then the case come and they win and they pay what is the compensation to the next person. So if you feel the government just lost a case against Yaka Koluba, we have a good judicial system, you know, that works. So if you went and the police came out, I don't know if the police are human beings. So a policeman against, Alfonso, so he comes out. Today we have, in the past government, they said they came out, or what name say, government Bremen House, when it was discovered after all the investigation. You see, Tobe is today serving in the government, okay? And he's not even serving in any ordinary position. He's serving directly with the president.
Okay.
Right.
Mr. Director.
Don't make it look like, let me just tell you this. It's not raining fire in Liberia. Okay? So they need to hold their horses.
All right.
We know, we've seen all the time. We think
That's
all the time in this
Director.
country we've been happy. We know the tough times.
All right. It's an honor to have a friend and brother. Nothing gonna keep that gap, regardless of you being in government. We do not. We
Right.
just want to hold people accountable and have their fair share
Right.
to also hear. And that's the kind of message we always try to preach on this network here. Sometimes you can have the message, but the manner in which you process and execute your message, you might lose people, and people might
Right.
fade away from you. But Director Weiss, we want to thank you so much for taking of your time. I hope this will not going to be the last time. Please, and also if there are issues that you guys want to talk about, you reach out
Right.
to us as well. We are in it for the Republic of Liberia. I think that's the bottom line. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, and it was an honest interview. Thank you so much, and I'm grateful for the entire family of LPR.
Okay. All right. That's folks. That does it this evening. I'm Alfonso and sort of the Liberia Public Radio 10 LPR radio right here. We want to thank all of you for joining us here. Time has caught up with me here. We hope to do much more of this here in subsequent time to come. Every good thing must come to an end. I will be back here on Sunday. I will be hosting Dr. Dube Nyant, one of the funniest scientists from Liberia. He's currently in the USA. Dube Nyant will be my guest this Sunday in an informative news magazine, Freedom Watch, and we're going to go in depth of his from Madagascar, reportedly or legends, coronavirus medications, the downsides, what we should be concerned with, and what should have happened. We're going to be getting a take from the experts himself, Dr. Dubanya, going to be my guest. Until then, folks, have a pleasant evening, and I will talk to you. Bye-bye.
I'm not going to get up and say, oh, I'm before Facebook and say something. I can have a slight of tongue and then happen. And what you don't want to do as a journalist, someone heading this prestigious area, fill in the shoes of people that Nangwe Slaw, that's not something easy, people who, that's not a priority now. My main focus is, the people we serve, our leaders, who we must first, show that we owe them that explanation, for what, because mind you, we serve at the will and pleasure of the president of the country. So for any reason, I'm more of a laid-back kind of person. I want my work to reflect, it's not about me, and all of that. Not so to say that I don't have problem with people who put their photos in the offices and all of that. But for now, I'm here to do a decent job. And when that time comes,
what is the strength now? We knew the Liberian Agency in the 80s and years back, but because of the devastations our own side, the war, the different types of transitions in terms of government that have been coming in, I'm quite sure some people leaving, people coming in. What is the strength of your workforce directly under your supervisions with the Liberian Agency?
as we speak currently, we're building this Lena app. You can see that if you could put the camera on here.
So I'm going to focus here. Let's see here.
This is the Liberian News Agency app right here. This is the new app that's been built currently as we speak in India. This app will be coming up the middle part of March, but it's currently been tested. So you see, once you tap that icon, it opens immediately. So it's like we want to keep the entire Liberian news, videos, everything on a one hub. So you got word, entertainment. This is just a test.
And this is Facebook.
This is just test. These are all damning stories, that they just put there because we're in the building stage. So you see, if you go up, that's entertainment. So we're gonna honor the Liberian News Agency with the rights from the Liberian entertainment community. We're gonna catalog everything into one-stop shop. So you leave from there, you go, this is top news, okay? From top news, then you go to sports, and then even under the app, we have the Lena website that we currently design. This is the current web.
I think this is quite impressive. This has not been in existence though.
Correct.
How you come up with this idea, Mr. Director?
I mean, technology now is what's trending. If you're not ahead of the game, they're gonna beat you. My goal of trying to get this whole thing, it's gonna take a little bit of time because you got the guys like Front Page Africa, Daily Observer, all these different news outlets. They normally supposed to be taking news from us. We're news wires. Most of these guys don't have the kind of money to pay for reporters all around the country. And authenticity has taken a blow, a balancing of news, either journalism as a whole in this country. So what are we doing? I was in Casablanca, Rabat, the other day to attend the Federation of Press Agencies in Atlantic States of West Africa, called FAPA. And there we talked about